It's important for your business to have records of consent from your customers for policies that your business requires. These policies should be agreed to before a student participates in any class or event. An electronic copy of these policies can help you from having to store numerous paper files on the many policies for each of your customers that you need. Policies are set up in preferences and can be mandatory or optional. Once created, policies can be added manually to customer and student records or agreed to electronically through the customer portal. To add a policy manually for those times when you only have a paper waiver form, you can add the policy directly to customer or student records via their Maintenance Page 2 screens. From the blue main menu, click on Customers, and I'm going to select Sandy Earl. Then I'm going to navigate to Maintenance Page 2 from the purple sidebar menu. To work with policies, click on the purple Edit Action button to open up the policy window. And then you want to click on Add New. We're going to use the drop-down select box to choose the policy that the customer signed. All right, this customer just signed a paper copy of my liability waiver, so I will select that policy. If the date the policy was signed differs from the date you enter the policy into ClassJuggler, you can change the date. And I'm going to change this date to April 1st because that is the date on the waiver that I have. Then we're going to save. And now we have the liability waiver added to this customer. If a policy is optional, there will be a choice of whether the customer agrees or if the customer does not agree with the policy. We have an example of this. We're going to add another policy. We'll add the photo waiver. And here, this is an optional policy, so you're given the choice, did the customer agree to this policy or did not agree? And I'm going to put down that the customer agreed, and I'm going to keep the same date. And we'll save that one as well. If there was a specific policy that pertains to each student and not to the entire family, it can be added in the same way that we just added the customer policy, but from the student Maintenance Page 2 screen. The second way the policies can be added is through the customer portal so that they are agreed to as part of online registration, as part of a new order, or when signing back in to a customer account. Let's take a look at an example of how a customer will agree to policies in the customer portal. I will sign in as one of my demo parents, Sherry Brown. I'll add her password. Before we even see Sherry's welcome page, we see that there are new policies that are waiting for Sherry to agree, review, and acknowledge. After agreeing to the new policies, Sherry can review all the policies that she has agreed to from the Family Info Policies and Agreements page. So let's go ahead and agree to these policies, and then we'll save and continue. From the Family Info, you have the options of customer, students, and policies and agreements. We're going to choose that. And here are the policies that Sherry Brown has agreed to. As an administrator, I can also view these newly acknowledged policies from Sherry Brown's customer record. So I'll go back to my customer list, click on Sherry Brown, go to her Maintenance Page 2, and now I can see that 2 policies were added today. If you click on the purple Edit button, you can also see who signed the policy in the Added By section. This is a new feature, and this is an important feature for liability and will show that either the customer added the policy or a particular administrative user added this policy. Now that we understand the ways in which policies can be agreed to in ClassJuggler, we can look at how to archive your old policies that you want to replace. Over time, you may have policies that need changing due to changes in your business. So from the optional preferences, you're going to click on Policies and Agreements. If a policy is in use by at least one customer in your database, it is considered locked and cannot be changed. This prevents you from making any changes to a policy which would invalidate any signed policy from your customers. For in-use policies, such as my payment policy on row number 3, you will see an Archive button in the Action Info column. If a policy is not currently in use, meaning no families have agreed to it, you will be able to change any part of the policy or delete it. You can see an example of this on row 8. This is my test policy, and you can change the text in here or you could just delete it. The Action Info column in the policy table also shows important information for understanding how your policies are currently being used. For example, we will look at my payment policy in row 3 again. Here we can see the ID number of the policy, and we can see that it is also linked to the customer portal. It's also linked to at least one event, and it is currently in use or agreed to by 11 customers. This is information we will need when replacing and archiving an active policy. Archiving a policy is a multi-step process. First, I want to create a new policy and add it to my preferences. The second step will be to archive the old payment policy. To do this, you want to click on the Archive Action button to the right of my old payment information. So I'm going to click on this Archive button. This takes you to a confirmation screen where you will see important information on the policy you are archiving. This screen will show you if the policy is linked to a customer portal, so that you can relink the new policy. It will also show you if the policy is currently linked to any event templates, and show you the name and ID of each event template it is linked to. To confirm that you are sure you want to archive this policy, you're going to type the word archive in the confirmation box, and then you're going to click the Archive This Policy action button. Once you've archived the policy, it will be moved to an archived status and will be unlinked from the customer portal and event templates. If you want to view archived policies, just click on the Archive Policies tab from the top of the Policies and Agreements screen. So just click on this tab, and then you can see our newest archive policy that I archived on 4/11/2019. Okay, your final step is to link your new replacement policy to the customer portal. So from the blue main menu, we're going to click on Tools, and then we're going to click on from the purple sidebar menu, the Customer Portal Manager. And we're going to add this new policy to the list of linked policies in the Customer and Student Policies tab. So from the first blank row, I'll type in number display order 30, since I want this to be the third policy shown for registering parents. And then I'm going to select the new payment policy from the drop-down list, and then I'm going to save my changes. Now, when your customers sign into the portal, they will be prompted to read and agree to the new policy. To view a list of customers and students who have acknowledged certain policies or have not acknowledged them, you can use the Customer and Student Policy and Agreement reports. From Reports, I'm going to go to my Customer Reports from the purple sidebar menu and click on Customer Policies and Agreements. This report can be run in 3 different ways. You can show customers with a selected policy. You can show customers that do not have the selected policy, or you could show all customers and their policies. I'm going to run this report with the Show All Customers and Their Policies. And I'm going to generate the report. Okay, when you look at the report, you see all the policies that were agreed to, whether they are mandatory or optional. And finally, like with Sherry Brown here, you can even see the archive policies, which we have 2 of now. Well, thank you for attending today's webinar. You now know how to archive and replace outdated policies for your business.